10 years of grief shattered by 4 words from a 12-year-old girl. Mr. Bennett stood in front of that portrait every day. His son, Lucas, 4 years old in the painting, taken from a park, never found. Everyone said the boy was dead, Captain Mitchell, but I knew different. I'd seen him, lived with him at St. Michael's Orphanage. We called him Matthew because that's what the nuns told us to call him. Everyone thinks this story is about a billionaire finding his lost son, but that's not where this fire started. The real fire started when someone decided a 4-year-old boy was worth more as a ghost than as a person, when greed became more important than family. If you've ever lost someone you thought was gone forever, you'll understand this story. Subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. My name is Maya Walsh. I'm 12 years old, and the day I shattered a billionaire's world started with a portrait I wasn't supposed to see. It was the anniversary. That's what my mom called it. The day Mr. Graham Bennett's son disappeared 10 years ago. Mom had only been working at Westridge Estate for 2 weeks. She was the new maid. Quiet, hardworking, grateful for the job. That morning, her car broke down. She had no one to watch me, no babysitter, no neighbor available. So she brought me to work. "Maya," she said, kneeling down before we went inside, "you stay in the kitchen. You don't wander, you don't touch anything, and you absolutely do not go into the main house. Do you understand?" I understood. I was 12, not stupid. But understanding and obeying are 2 different things. The kitchen was boring. The cook, Mrs. Brennan, was nice enough. She gave me cookies and told me to read my book at the corner table. I tried. I really did. But I heard something. A clock. Ticking. Loud and steady from somewhere deep in the house. And I wanted to see it. I slipped out of the kitchen, down the hall, through a doorway. And that's when I saw it. The grand hallway was massive, dark wood everywhere, a staircase that curved like something from a movie, and above the fireplace, a portrait. A little boy, maybe 4 years old, dark hair, bright, curious eyes. He was smiling, holding a wooden sailboat. I stopped walking. I stopped breathing. I knew that boy, not from this house, not from any party or school or neighborhood. I knew him from St. Michael's, from the orphanage. That's when I heard the footsteps, heavy, angry. I turned. A man stood at the end of the hallway, tall, expensive suit, dark hair going gray at the temples. His face was hard, cold. Mr. Bennett. "This is a private area," he said. His voice wasn't loud, but it cut like a knife. "You shouldn't be here." I heard my mom's voice behind me, panicked. "Maya! Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Mr. Bennett. She was supposed to stay in the kitchen." Mom grabbed my arm, started pulling me toward the door. But I couldn't move. I was still staring at the portrait. "Maya, come on," Mom hissed. "Now!" I pulled my arm free. I looked at Mr. Bennett, and I said the words that changed everything. "Sir, this boy, he lived with me in the orphanage." The hallway went silent. Mom let out a strangled sound. Her hand flew to her mouth. "Maya, stop this. What are you saying? That's Mr. Bennett's son. He passed away. Apologize right now." But I shook my head. "No, Mama, he didn't pass away. He was at St. Michael's home. We called him Matthew." Mr. Bennett staggered, actually staggered. He gripped the back of a leather chair like his legs wouldn't hold him. "What did you say?" His voice was barely a whisper. Mom was crying now. "Maya, you're mistaken, please. That boy, he's been gone for 10 years. "He wasn't gone," I said. My voice was shaking, but I kept going. "He was at St. Michael's. I knew him. We called him Mute Matthew because he didn't talk. Not for a long time. But he talked to me. Mr. Bennett's face had gone white, completely white. "That's impossible," he said. "My son is dead." "He isn't," I said. Tears were running down my face now. "He was older when I knew him, but it's him. I know it's him." "Maya, that's enough," Mom sobbed. But Mr. Bennett held up a hand, stopped her. "What did he tell you?" His voice was hoarse, rough. "This boy, Matthew, what did he tell you?" I swallowed hard. "He told me about his dog, a big brown dog. He said his name was Cooper. He said Cooper loved to chase seagulls on the beach. He said Cooper would bark and bark, but the birds were always too fast." Mr. Bennett's knees actually buckled. He caught himself on the chair, but barely. Cooper. I'd never seen that name in any news article, never heard it on TV. It was private, a detail only family would know. "You're lying," Mr. Bennett whispered, but there was no power in it, no conviction. "I'm not," I said. "He was my friend. He protected me. The other kids called him Mute Matthew because he didn't talk for a long time, but he talked to me. He said he wasn't an orphan. He said his real name started with an L, but he couldn't remember it. He said his dad was rich and was going to come for him, but nobody believed him." Mom was openly crying now. "Mr. Bennett, please. She's my adopted daughter. I got her from St. Michael's 3 years ago. I used to volunteer there. Please, she gets confused sometimes." Mr. Bennett's head snapped toward Mom. "You adopted her?" "Yes, sir," Mom said, wiping her eyes. "She was there since she was 5. I met her while volunteering. I adopted her when I was finally able to. Please, she—" "Teresa," Mr. Bennett said. His hands were shaking, visibly shaking. "Take your daughter to my study, now." His voice left no room for argument. Mom took my hand, led me down a different hallway. Behind us, I heard Mr. Bennett's voice, quiet, broken. He said his dad was rich and was going to come for him. The study was huge. Dark wood, leather chairs, books everywhere. Mom sat me down in a stiff chair. She stood by the door, twisting her hands. Mr. Bennett entered, closed the door, stood by the fireplace with his back to us. For a long time, he said nothing. Then he turned. "Start from the beginning," he said. His voice was controlled, careful. "Don't leave anything out." I took a deep breath. "I was 5 when I went to St. Michael's," I said. "I don't remember my birth parents. Mama, Teresa, she's the only mom I've ever really had. I met her when she was a volunteer. She adopted me 3 years ago." "And the boy," Mr. Bennett said. "Tell me about the boy." "They called him Matthew," I said. "He was already there when I got there. He was in the older boys' dorm. I think he was maybe 9 or 10 then. He was really quiet. The nuns called him Mute Matthew because he didn't talk, not for a long, long time." Mr. Bennett's jaw tightened. His son had been a bright, talkative 4-year-old. What kind of trauma turns a child silent? "He would just sit by the window in the recreation room," I continued. "He drew all the time. Houses, big houses, and the ocean." Mr. Bennett's breath caught. The beach house. "And he drew dogs," I said quietly. "A big brown dog. After he started talking, he told me. He told me he missed his dog. He said his name was Cooper." Mom covered her mouth. Mr. Bennett closed his eyes. "He said Cooper loved to run on the beach," I added, "and chase seagulls. He said the dog would bark and bark, but the birds were too fast." It was a perfect memory, a private moment only family would know.
"How do you know this boy is the boy in the painting?"
Mr. Bennett asked. His voice was tight, controlled. "His eyes," I said simply. I never forget eyes. And this. I reached into my pocket, pulled out a small, folded piece of paper. It was old, the creases worn through. I handed it to him. Mr. Bennett's hand shook as he took it, unfolded it. It was a child's drawing, done in crayon. A stick figure of a small girl with yellow hair, holding hands with a taller stick figure boy. Above them, a large brown dog. "He gave it to me," I whispered. I was crying because an older boy, Dennis, tried to take my necklace. I touched the thin compass necklace around my neck. "My grandpa gave me this," I said. "Captain Frank Donovan. He's a war veteran. He came with Mama to volunteer at St. Michael's one day. He met me. He said I was a brave soldier. He gave me this compass and told me to never lose it." Mom spoke, her voice shaky. "My father saw something in her. He told me, 'That one's a fighter, Teresa.' That's when I knew I had to adopt her." Mr. Bennett nodded slowly. Captain Frank Donovan, a decorated war hero, a man known for rigid honesty, not a family of liars. "Matthew gave me the drawing," I said. "He didn't say anything to Dennis. He just stood in front of me, stared at him. Dennis got scared, gave my compass back. Matthew gave me this drawing after. He said it was so I'd remember I had a protector." Mr. Bennett stared at the drawing, his son, his lost boy, protecting this child when no one had protected him. "You said your mother adopted you 3 years ago," Mr. Bennett said. "What happened to Matthew?" My face fell. "He ran away," I said softly. "It was about a week before Mama came to get me. So, yeah, about 3 years ago. He was getting older. He would have been 13 or 14. He hated it there. He told me he was going to find his real house," I said. "He said he remembered a gate, a big black iron gate with a letter on it." Mr. Bennett's gaze flew to the window, to the massive driveway, to the iron gates at the entrance. The gates that bore a single stylized B for Bennett. "He told me he was going to find his dad," I said. Tears filled my eyes. "And then he was gone. The nuns said he ran away. I never saw him again." Mr. Bennett's face hardened. "St. Michael's home," he said. "Where is it?" He was already moving to his desk, grabbing his phone. "Sir," Mom said, her voice was shaking with fear. "That's the other thing." Mr. Bennett paused, looked at her. "You can't go there, sir," I whispered. "It's gone." "Gone?" Mr. Bennett's voice was sharp. "What do you mean, gone?" "It burned down," I said. "About a week after Matthew ran away. It was a big fire. Everything was gone. The records, the rooms, everything. That's why Mama came to get me so fast. The county was moving all us kids. She filed the adoption papers just in time." The room went silent, but it wasn't the silence of grief. It was the silence of something darker. A boy who knows too much runs away. A week later, the orphanage burns to the ground. All the records destroyed. That wasn't an accident. That was a cover-up. Mr. Bennett looked at me, really looked at me. "Teresa," he said. His voice was cold and clear. "You and your daughter will not be returning to the staff quarters. You will move into the East Guest Wing tonight." Mom's eyes went wide. "Sir, I don't understand." "You are not my maid anymore," Mr. Bennett said. He looked at me, at the worn crayon drawing in his hand. "You are under my protection, and you," he said to me, "are going to help me find my son." It wasn't a request. It was a command. Over the next 2 days, Westridge Estate became something different. Not a home, not a business, a war room. Mr. Bennett's head of security, Marcus Reed, turned the study into an investigation headquarters. Files spread across every surface: computers, phones, security footage. My grandpa, Captain Frank Donovan, came to the estate. Tall, thin, steel gray hair, eyes that saw everything. He hugged me tight when he arrived. "You did good, soldier," he said quietly. "Now we finish the job." Marcus's team interviewed me for hours. Not mean, not scary, just thorough. They asked about St. Michael's, about Sister Catherine, the head nun, about the other kids, about Matthew, and about the visitors. "There was a man," I told them. "He came at night, in a big black car, very quiet." Marcus leaned forward. "Did you ever see him?" "Once," I said. "I had a stomachache. I was in the infirmary on the first floor. I looked out the window. The car pulled up. It was late." "What did you see?" "A man got out. He was very tall. He wore a hat, and he had a ring. I remember because it shined when he pointed his finger at Sister Catherine. She looked like she was going to cry." "A ring?" Marcus asked. "What did it look like?" "It was big, gold, and it had a blue stone in the middle, a dark blue stone." I paused, remembering. "He scared me. He looked up, and I hid. I felt like he saw me, even in the dark." Grandpa put a protective arm around me. Marcus made notes. "Did Matthew ever see this man?" I nodded. "I think so. That's why he was scared. When he talked about them, he said they were liars. He said Sister Catherine was a liar. He said they pretended to be good, but they were monsters." Meanwhile, Mr. Bennett was making calls. Lots of calls. I heard pieces through the door. "I want everything on the St. Michael's fire. Everything. Pull the property records. I don't care if it's Sunday. Do it now. Find Fire Marshal Brooks. I want to know where he is and how he paid for his retirement." At one point, Grandpa and I were in the sitting room of our new suite. It was huge. 2 bedrooms, a fireplace, windows overlooking a massive garden. "Grandpa," I said, "I'm scared." He pulled me close. "I know, Maya, but you're safe here." "Why does Mr. Bennett think we're in danger?" Grandpa was quiet for a moment. Then he said something that made my blood run cold. "Because you're the only one who can identify his son. You're the only witness who's still alive. If someone wanted to keep that boy hidden, you're a loose end." I clutched my compass necklace. "Mr. Bennett won't let anything happen to you," Grandpa said. "Neither will I." That night, Marcus brought a file to Mr. Bennett's study. Mom, Grandpa, and I were there too. Mr. Bennett had insisted. "Sir," Marcus said, "the fire at St. Michael's. The official report ruled it accidental. Faulty electrical wiring." "An accident," Mr. Bennett said flatly. "Fire Marshal Brooks signed off on it," Marcus continued. 2 weeks later, he filed for early retirement, moved to Florida, bought a waterfront condo and a 40-foot fishing boat. Both paid in cash. Grandpa let out a low sound. "He was paid off." "Cleanup," Mr. Bennett said. His voice was ice. Marcus opened the file. "I checked the property records. St. Michael's wasn't owned by the church. It was owned by a nonprofit, the Clearwater Foundation." "What foundation?" Mr. Bennett asked. Marcus looked at him. "A charitable trust. Its only donor for the last 15 years was a holding company registered in Delaware." Mr. Bennett gripped the desk. "What holding company?" Marcus looked down at the paper. A subsidiary of Bennett Properties. Sir, your company. The room went silent, completely silent. Mr. Bennett's face went white.
What did you say?
Someone used your own money to fund the orphanage that was hiding your son, Marcus said quietly. The betrayal was complete. For 10 years, Mr. Bennett had been paying to keep his own son hidden. Who? Mr. Bennett's voice was barely a whisper, but it carried the weight of a death sentence. Who in my company authorized the Clearwater Foundation? Marcus pulled another paper. The Charitable Accounts Division. Signatory on all payments was Joe King. Mr. Bennett dropped into his chair. Joe King. His brother-in-law. His late wife Victoria's brother. Uncle Joe. The man who stood by him at Victoria's funeral. Who called Lucas the son I never had. The man who ran the charitable arm of Bennett Properties, a position Mr. Bennett had given him out of family loyalty. He was here, Mr. Bennett whispered. He was here yesterday, for the anniversary. Joe had visited, like he did every year, bringing whiskey, telling Mr. Bennett to find peace. Peace, while he actively, knowingly hid his son. Sir, Marcus said, there's more from Maya's interview. Mr. Bennett looked up. The man who visited St. Michael's at night, the one with the ring, Maya said it was gold with a dark blue stone. Marcus pulled a photograph from the file, placed it on the desk. It was from a company gala. Mr. Bennett, his late wife Victoria, and her brother Joe, all smiling. Joe's hand rested on Victoria's shoulder. On his right pinky finger was a large gold signet ring, the family crest, a dark blue sapphire in the center. Mr. Bennett stared at the photo. I'm going to kill him, he whispered. Sir, Marcus said carefully, we need to be smart. This is a 10-year conspiracy. He took my son, Mr. Bennett said. His voice was shaking. He destroyed my wife. He let Victoria die of a broken heart, all for money. And now he knows, Marcus said, or he will soon. The new maid and her daughter moved to the East Wing. Guards on their door. You clearing your schedule? He's not stupid, sir. He'll know something is wrong. Mr. Bennett's eyes met Marcus's. He's going to come after Maya. He won't get to her, Marcus said. His tone was flat, final. But he will try. The phone on Mr. Bennett's desk rang. Everyone jumped. Mr. Bennett looked at the caller ID. J. King. The snake was calling. Mr. Bennett took a deep breath, closed his eyes, summoned the ghost of his grief. Then he picked up. Joe, he said. His voice was perfect, gravelly, exhausted. Graham, thank God. Joe's voice was smooth, oily. I was just checking on you. Difficult day, I know. Liar. It's fine, Joe, Mr. Bennett mumbled. Just another year. I know. Listen, I heard you canceled the Tokyo trip. Is everything all right? There it was, the hook. He knew Mr. Bennett had changed his routine. I'm just tired, Joe. Tired of all of it. I didn't have it in me. Not today. A pause. Joe was processing. Of course, Joe said. I understand completely. Why don't I come over? We can have a drink. For Victoria. For Lucas. Mr. Bennett's hand tightened on the phone. No, he said, too quickly. He softened his tone. No, Joe, I appreciate it, but I'm turning in. I just want to be alone. Are you sure, Graham? I'm only 10 minutes away. I'm sure. Thank you, Joe. Good night. He hung up. His hand was shaking. Not with fear, with rage. "He didn't believe me," Mr. Bennett said. "He's coming." Marcus moved to the intercom. "All units, possible hostile approach. Joe King may attempt entry." 30 minutes later, the doorbell rang. Mrs. Brennan answered it. Joe King stood on the step. Expensive suit, sad smile, bottle of whiskey in his hand. "Joe, sir," Mrs. Brennan stammered. "Mr. Bennett said he was retiring." "Nonsense, Davies," Joe said, stepping past her. His eyes scanned the space. "He needs family on a night like this." He walked into the hall. It was quiet, too quiet. "Graham," he called out. Mr. Bennett stepped from the shadows. His face was a mask of grief. "Joe, I told you. I just want to be alone." "And I'm telling you, you're not going to be," Joe said. He walked forward, clasping Mr. Bennett's shoulder. Mr. Bennett had to use every ounce of control not to flinch. "We'll have one drink. To them. To Victoria. To Lucas." Joe's eyes were busy, scanning the hallways, looking for anything out of place. "Fine," Mr. Bennett said. His voice was broken. "One drink." As they walked to the study, Joe glanced toward the east wing. "Place seems dead tonight," Joe said casually. "Gave the staff the night off. Good to be alone, but not too alone." In the study, Mr. Bennett moved to the decanters. "Oh, you brought your own," he said, seeing the whiskey bottle. "Only the best," Joe said, setting it on the desk. As he did, his eyes landed on something, the small, folded crayon drawing. Mr. Bennett's heart stopped. He'd left it out, a stupid mistake. Joe reached for it. "What's this? A child's—" "Don't," Mr. Bennett snapped. Too sharp, too fast. Joe froze, turned his head slowly. The polite mask was gone. "It's just an old thing," Mr. Bennett said quickly, faking pain. "One of Lucas's. I found it in a box today. Please, Joe, just leave it." Joe's eyes narrowed. He looked at the drawing. A blonde girl, a taller boy, a brown dog. He didn't remember Lucas knowing any blonde girls. "Of course," Joe said slowly. He pulled his hand back, forced the smile to return. "My apologies." But he knew. He didn't know what he knew, but he knew something was wrong. "To Victoria," Joe said, raising his glass. Mr. Bennett couldn't drink, couldn't speak. He put the glass down untouched. "I can't," he whispered. "I'm sorry, Joe. You should go." Joe watched him, saw the untouched glass, the tremor. He sighed. "You're right. I'm sorry. I pushed." He walked to the door, paused. "Oh, by the way, I heard you hired a new maid. Teresa, isn't it? How is she working out?" Mr. Bennett's head snapped up. The question wasn't casual. It was a bullet. "She's fine," Mr. Bennett said. His voice was tight. "Just a maid." "Of course," Joe smiled. "It's just, I heard she had a daughter, a little blonde girl, about 12, I think. I'm surprised you'd allow a child in the house, Graham, after, well, you know." He knew. He knew everything. "She stays in the kitchen," Mr. Bennett said. "It was an emergency. Her car broke down." "An emergency," Joe repeated. The smile was gone. His eyes were flat. "You always were a soft touch, Graham. Good night." The door clicked shut. Mr. Bennett lunged for the intercom. "Marcus, he knows. He knows about Maya. He's on the move." "Already tracking him, sir." Marcus's voice was ice. "And sir, I have something, from the East Wing." "What is it?" Maya remembered something else. The boy, Matthew, told her his full name was Matthew Lucas, and she said the man with the ring called him Uncle. Mr. Bennett gripped the desk. Uncle.
And there's more, Marcus said. Matthew told Maya he remembered a copper whale, a weather vane. He said he could see it from his bedroom window. Mr. Bennett's gaze shot to a framed photo on the wall. The beach house. On the corner of the porch, a copper whale weather vane. He's there, Mr. Bennett whispered. My son. He's at the beach house. Sir, Joe just turned south. He's heading toward the coast. He's going to the beach house, Mr. Bennett said. No, sir, Marcus said. I don't think Joe knows where Lucas is. The boy ran away before the fire. Joe's going for someone else. Sister Catherine, the nun. She's the only other witness. Find her first, Mr. Bennett ordered. I'm going to the beach house. Sir, you can't go alone. You get the nun. I get my son. We end this tonight. Mr. Bennett grabbed his keys, strode out of the study, past the portrait of the smiling 4-year-old. For the first time in 10 years, Graham Bennett was not a ghost. He was a father, and he was going to war. The coast highway was dark, empty. Mr. Bennett drove too fast. He didn't care. The smell of salt filled the air. He turned onto the private gravel lane, weeds high, gate rusted. The beach house was dark against the moonlit ocean. He stopped the car, got out. The only sound was the crashing waves and creak, creak, creak of something turning in the wind. He looked up. On the corner of the porch, a copper whale, wings spread, spinning in the breeze. He could see it from his bedroom window. Mr. Bennett ran to the porch, fumbled with the old key. The door burst open. Lucas! The house was cold, dark, smelled of mildew and dust. Lucas! His voice cracked. Silence. He climbed the stairs, down the hall, to his son's old room. The door was ajar. Moonlight streamed through the window, and someone was there. A figure sat on the edge of the bed, looking out the window, at the spinning copper whale. It was a boy, about 14, thin, long dark hair, dirty clothes. He heard Mr. Bennett, spun around, eyes wide with fear. He scrambled to his feet, grabbed a piece of driftwood, held it like a weapon. Get out, the boy hissed. This is my place. Get out! Mr. Bennett stopped, couldn't breathe. The boy was thin, terrified, but his eyes, they were his mother's eyes, bright, curious, full of a light he thought was gone forever. I'm not here to hurt you, Mr. Bennett said. His voice was raw. He held up his hands. Please. Everyone says that, the boy said. His voice shook. He was trying to be brave, but he was just a child. Who are you? How did you find this place? I used to live here, Mr. Bennett said carefully. This was my son's room. The boy's defensive posture wavered. Your son? His name was Lucas, Mr. Bennett said, his voice thick with tears. He had a dog, a big brown dog, a chocolate Labrador. The boy's arm, the one holding the driftwood, dropped slightly. Buddy, he whispered. Mr. Bennett's heart stopped. Cooper. His name was Cooper. The boy stared. Cooper? Yes, Mr. Bennett choked out. Cooper. He loved to chase seagulls. He would bark and bark, but they were always too fast. The boy's face began to crumble. The memory was clear. Real. His memory. How? The boy whispered. Tears filled his eyes. How do you know that? I was here, Mr. Bennett said, his own tears streaming. I was on the porch. I was watching you. The boy looked at him, saw the dark hair, the searching eyes. "You're the man from the picture," the boy whispered. "The one I tried to draw." "I am," Mr. Bennett said. "I'm Graham. I'm your father." The boy just stared, tears rolling down his cheeks. He'd been alone for so long. "Dad?" The word was foreign, a prayer he'd given up on. "Lucas," Mr. Bennett sobbed. He didn't rush, just opened his arms. The boy hesitated. Then the driftwood clattered to the floor. He lunged forward, collapsed against Mr. Bennett's chest, his thin arms wrapped around his father's neck. Mr. Bennett held him, his entire body shaking. His son, real, alive, warm. "I found you," Mr. Bennett wept into the boy's hair. "Oh God, Lucas, I found you." They stood there for what felt like hours, father and son, reunited after 10 years. Finally, Lucas pulled back, looked at his father's face. "They called me Matthew," he said, "at St. Michael's. I couldn't remember my real name, just that it started with L." "Lucas," Mr. Bennett said. "Your name is Lucas Bennett." "Lucas," the boy repeated, testing it. "I remember now. I remember you, and Mom, and Cooper." "Cooper died 6 years ago," Mr. Bennett said gently. "But we can get another dog, whatever you want." Lucas's eyes filled with fresh tears. "I ran away 3 years ago. I found the gate, but I was too scared to go in. So I came here. I've been hiding here, surviving." "You're safe now," Mr. Bennett said. "You're coming home." Lucas nodded. Then he looked around the room. "Can we stay here? Just for a minute? I've been so scared, and now you're here, and—" "We can stay as long as you need." They sat on the bed, Lucas leaning against his father, processing. "There was a man," Lucas said quietly, "at the orphanage. He scared everyone. Sister Catherine was terrified of him. He came at night." "Did you see him?" "Once. I was hiding under a bed. He was yelling at Sister Catherine. He told her to call me Matthew. He said Lucas was dead. Ethan Cole is—" Lucas paused. "No, Lucas Bennett is dead. That's what he said." "Who was he?" Mr. Bennett asked, though he already knew. "He called himself Uncle Joe." Mr. Bennett's jaw clenched. "Joe King, your mother's brother." "He's the one who took me," Lucas said, "from the park. I remember bits of it. He said we were going to surprise you. He gave me ice cream, and then everything went dark." Mr. Bennett pulled Lucas closer. "He's not going to hurt you ever again, I promise." Outside, neither of them heard the car pull up. Quiet, no headlights. Joe King stepped out, carrying a gas can from his trunk. He'd been tracked here by Marcus's security team. They were watching from a distance, cameras rolling. Joe saw the lights on in the house, Mr. Bennett's car in the driveway. "He found him," Joe muttered, his face twisted. He actually found him. He couldn't let them testify, couldn't let them destroy him. Joe walked around the house, poured gasoline around the first floor, the porch, the windows, the doors. His hands shook, but he didn't stop. He'd come too far, risked too much. He pulled out a lighter. "I'm sorry, Graham," he whispered, "but I can't let you take everything from me." He lit the gasoline. The fire spread instantly, multiple ignition points. The old wood caught fast. Flames raced up the porch, through the windows, into the house. Joe walked back to his car, parked on the access road, watched. Inside, Lucas smelled it first. "Dad, something's burning!" Mr. Bennett was on his feet instantly, ran to the door. Smoke. Thick, black smoke filling the hallway. "The stairs!" he shouted. They ran, but the stairway was engulfed, flames climbing, heat intense. "Back to the room!" Mr. Bennett pulled Lucas back, slammed the bedroom door. He ran to the window, broke it with a chair. "Help!" he shouted into the night. "Someone help us!" Too high to jump, 20 feet to the ground. Smoke was seeping under the door. The hallway outside was an inferno. "Dad, I'm scared!" Lucas was coughing. Mr. Bennett pulled him close, held him tight. "I just found you," he said, his voice breaking. "I'm not losing you again." He could hear the fire, roaring, consuming, getting closer. Then, sirens, distant but growing louder. A neighbor had seen the flames, called 911. Mr. Bennett leaned out the window, waved frantically. "Here, we're here, second floor." The fire truck screamed up the driveway. Station 47, 3 trucks, full crew. Captain Dean Mitchell jumped out first. He saw them immediately. 2 people at the second floor window, a man and a teenager. The man was shouting, desperate. "My son, we just found each other, please!" Dean didn't hesitate. "Position the ladder, window rescue, now!" His crew moved fast. The ladder truck extended. Dean climbed. The smoke was thick, black, pouring from the first floor. He could see flames inside. He reached the window, looked in. A man in his 40s, terrified, holding a thin teenager who was coughing violently. "I'm Captain Mitchell," Dean said. His voice was calm, steady. "I've got you both. We're getting you out." The man's eyes filled with tears of relief. "Thank you, God, thank you." "The boy first," Dean said. Lucas looked at his father. "I don't want to leave you." "Go, Lucas," Mr. Bennett said. "I'll be right behind you, I promise." Dean guided Lucas onto the ladder. The boy was shaking, terrified. "I've got you," Dean said. "Just one step at a time." Lucas climbed down. A crew member at the bottom took him immediately to the paramedics. Dean climbed back up. Inside the room, the door frame was starting to collapse, flames pushing through. "Now!" Dean shouted. "Move!" Mr. Bennett climbed out just as the bedroom door burst open. Fire filled the room. Dean guided him down, fast. They hit the ground, both safe. Mr. Bennett ran to Lucas, pulled him into his arms. The paramedics were there, oxygen masks, checking vitals. "You're both okay," the paramedic said. "Smoke inhalation, but you got out in time." Dean watched them, father and son, clinging to each other. Then he turned to his crew. "Get this fire under control, and someone check the perimeter. This wasn't an accident." One of his firefighters approached. "Captain, police just arrested someone on the access road. Guy named Joe King. He had a gas can in his trunk. Security team had cameras rolling. Got the whole thing." Dean looked at Mr. Bennett. "Joe King?" Mr. Bennett's face hardened. "My brother-in-law, the man who kidnapped my son 10 years ago." Dean's expression shifted. Understanding. Horror. "He set this fire?" "To kill us," Lucas said quietly. His voice was hoarse from smoke. "He tried to kill us so we couldn't tell anyone what he did." Dean walked over to the police cars. Joe was in handcuffs, being put in the back of a cruiser. Their eyes met. Joe's face was blank. No remorse, no fear, just cold calculation that had failed. Dean turned back to Mr. Bennett and Lucas. The fire was being contained. The house would be a total loss, but the people inside, they'd survived. "Captain Mitchell," Mr. Bennett said. He stood up, extended his hand. "You saved us. You saved my son." Dean shook his hand. "Just doing my job, sir." "It's more than that," Mr. Bennett said. "We just found each other, after 10 years. If you hadn't gotten here when you did." His voice broke. Dean looked at Lucas, at the thin, scared teenager who'd survived a decade of hell. How long was he missing? Dean asked. 10 years, Mr. Bennett said. Since he was 4 years old. I thought he was dead. Everyone did. Then a 12-year-old girl saw his portrait and told me she knew him, from an orphanage. And tonight I found him here, at our old beach house. Lucas looked up at Dean. And then Uncle Joe tried to burn us alive. Dean's jaw tightened. He won't hurt you again. The evidence is solid. Arson, attempted murder, and whatever else he did to put you in that orphanage. Kidnapping, Mr. Bennett said. His voice was ice. Conspiracy. Fraud. He used my own company to fund the orphanage that hid my son. He let my wife die, thinking our boy was dead. Dean had seen a lot in 18 years as a firefighter. But this was something different. I'm glad you found each other, Dean said simply. That's what matters. Mr. Bennett nodded, pulled Lucas closer. The paramedic approached. Mr. Bennett, we need to take you both to the hospital, just for observation. Smoke inhalation can be serious. Can we ride together? Lucas asked. His voice was small, scared of being separated again. Of course, the paramedic said gently. As they were being loaded into the ambulance, Dean stood with his crew, watching the house burn. Captain, one of his firefighters said, that kid was missing for 10 years? Yeah, Dean said. And they just found each other tonight? Yeah. And then someone tried to burn them alive? Dean looked at the ambulance, at the father and son sitting side by side, holding hands. Yeah, he said, but they made it. That's what counts. The ambulance doors closed, lights flashing, pulling away. Dean turned back to the fire. His crew was getting it under control, but in his mind, he was thinking about that moment at the window. The desperate father, the terrified son. My son, we just found each other. Sometimes the fires you fight aren't just about buildings. Sometimes they're about saving second chances. 2 weeks later, Westridge Estate was different. Not haunted anymore, not silent, alive. Lucas was recovering, slowly. Therapy, doctors, learning to trust again. But he was home. His room was on the second floor, windows overlooking the garden. Mr. Bennett had it decorated exactly how Lucas wanted. Books, art supplies, a telescope for watching stars, and a photograph on the nightstand. Lucas at age 4, holding a wooden sailboat, smiling. Maya, Teresa, and Captain Frank had moved into the East Wing permanently. Teresa was now estate manager. A 5-bedroom home on the property, a real salary. Maya visited Lucas every day. They'd sit in the garden, talk, draw. They were friends, real friends. In Mr. Bennett's study, Marcus delivered the final reports. Joe King is in federal custody, Marcus said. He confessed to everything: kidnapping, conspiracy, fraud, attempted murder. He blamed you for Victoria's unhappiness, said you didn't deserve the Bennett fortune, so he took the one thing that mattered most. And Sister Catherine? Mr. Bennett asked. She provided full testimony in exchange for a reduced sentence. She admitted Joe paid her to hide Lucas, to call him Matthew, to keep him silent about his real identity. How much did he pay her? $50,000 over 10 years. The fire at St. Michael's? Joe arranged it, paid Fire Marshal Brooks to rule it accidental. Mr. Bennett nodded slowly. And Brooks? Arrested, returning all the bribe money as part of his plea deal. Good. That afternoon, Mr. Bennett gathered everyone in the study. Lucas sat next to him, Maya across from them with Teresa and Captain Frank. Maya, Mr. Bennett said, you saved my son, twice. Once by telling the truth, once by giving us the information that led to the beach house before it was too late. Maya looked at her grandfather. He nodded encouragingly. "I'm setting up a trust for you," Mr. Bennett said, "for your education, college, graduate school, whatever you want. You can be anything." Maya's eyes widened. "Mr. Bennett, you don't have to—" "Yes, I do," he said. His voice was firm. "You gave me my son back. That's a debt I can never repay, but I can give you a future." Teresa was crying. "Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Thank you so much." Maya looked at Lucas. "What do you want to be, Lucas?" Lucas thought for a moment. "I want to help kids like me, the ones who are lost." Mr. Bennett squeezed his son's shoulder. "Then that's what you'll do. When you're ready, we'll start a foundation, a real one, to help children who've been taken, to find the ones who are missing." "Can we call it the Lucas Bennett Foundation?" Maya asked. Lucas looked at his father. Mr. Bennett nodded. "Yeah," Lucas said, a small smile on his face. "I like that." That evening, Mr. Bennett and Lucas stood on the terrace overlooking the gardens. It was the first time they'd been alone since the fire. "Dad," Lucas said quietly, "why did Uncle Joe do it?" Mr. Bennett was silent for a long moment. "Because he was angry," he said finally. "He thought he deserved something I had, and when he couldn't take it honestly, he tried to take it through hurting me." "But he hurt everyone," Lucas said. "You, Mom, me." "I know." Mr. Bennett's voice was thick. "And I'm sorry. I should have kept looking for you. I should never have given up." Lucas looked up at his father. "But you found me." "No, son," Mr. Bennett said, his hand on Lucas's shoulder. "Maya found you. She found us both." They stood there, father and son, watching the sunset paint the gardens gold. For the first time in 10 years, the house wasn't silent, and Graham Bennett wasn't alone.
That was Maya Walsh. "I'm Captain Dean Mitchell, Station 47. We got the call at 10:20 p.m. Structure fire at Bennett Point. Coastal property. Fully involved. When we arrived, 2 people were trapped at a second-floor window, a man and a teenager. The man was shouting something I'll never forget. "My son, we just found each other." They'd been reunited for less than an hour, 10 years apart, 10 years of thinking the boy was dead, and someone tried to burn them alive the moment they found each other again. Joe King, the boy's uncle, the man who'd kidnapped him 10 years earlier, who'd hidden him in an orphanage under a fake name, who'd burned that orphanage's records when the boy escaped, and when a 12-year-old girl recognized the boy's face in a portrait and told the truth. Joe tried to silence them all with fire. We got them out. Both of them. Smoke inhalation, but alive. Joe King was arrested at the scene, gas can in his trunk, security footage showing him pouring accelerant, setting the fire. He's serving 30 years, federal prison, no parole. Sometimes the most dangerous enemy is the one sitting at your table, the one who knows your house, your schedule, your pain, the one who knows exactly what you've lost and how to take even more. But here's what people like Joe King forget. The truth doesn't burn. Even when you destroy the records, even when you pay off officials, even when you think you've erased every witness, because somewhere, there's a 12-year-old girl who remembers, who sees, who speaks up when it matters most. Maya Walsh told the truth about a boy in a portrait, a boy everyone thought was dead, and because she did, a father got his son back, a family was reunited, and a man who thought he could hide his crimes in ashes learned that some fires don't destroy evidence, they reveal it. If you know something that could save someone, speak up, don't wait, don't assume someone else will handle it. You might be the only one who knows, the only one who can make it right. The beach house burned down that night, but the family survived, and that's what matters. I'm Captain Dean Mitchell, Station 47. Stay safe out there.